So that was like our thing. Like me, Don, and Jay was like, we fresher than your stylist. Cause we was looking at Rap City, MTV. Yeah. So when we went to New York, and the New York dudes was like, man, y'all fresh every day. We like, wait, y'all not fresh every day?
Excellence.
Welcome back, season 2, episode 5. We appreciate everybody that's been rocking with us. We really need you guys to subscribe, like, comment. I know that shit sound corny, but it's needed. We really, really need it. What's up, Twin? How you feeling?
Man, we're good, man. Good.
It's looking good as always.
Likewise, brother. You know how your trend setting, you know what I'm saying? You know, look, I see what they got going out here. They,
Yeah.
So they following your trend. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make it theirs.
It's, man.
It's cool.
We don't speak about it, man. Me and you do, but the world don't need to know, man. Yeah, so who we got with us today, man?
Oh, man, listen, Joe. We got another guy that we've been knowing forever. Probably one of the architects of one of the greatest movements that we've seen.
Definitely.
In fashion and hip hop combined.
Definitely.
The reason I get fly is Ibn Jasper in the building. Ibn, say what's up to the people, man.
What's up, people? What's up with you?
How you feeling, man?
Yo.
Thank you for
Up
sliding on
up in
us,
here
man.
with my guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Man, we
My
appreciate
OG guys.
Yeah, bro. Let's get straight to it. I'm excited about this. We've been waiting on you for a while, man. We're glad you made time and rocked out, man.
Yeah, we've been talking about it since you started. You know what I'm saying? We've been
100%.
talking about this.
Let's do it, man. Twin, you kick it. What we doing?
Man, so, it's just some things I've been really wanting to know. That I've been seeing forever since we've been knowing each other, man. You were always heavy in the skate culture. And I feel like when a lot of things started to turn towards the skate culture is when you became prevalent, when people started to see, people started to hear the name Ibn Jasper. Speak to that.
Yeah, that's true. Like I started skating like in the 80s. When way before it was cool for like people that look like us to do that, because I was born in Chicago on the South Side, and like my father went to prison for like 10 years. So my mom ended up getting married to my stepdad. He worked at IBM, so I was also introduced to tech by him. So like when I was like a young kid, would always have these little IBM gadgets and stuff like that in the house. So we moved out to like Flossmoor in the 80s, and that's when I started like getting into the skate culture, like just trying to be like my Uncle Russell.
Okay.
He was like 16 and he just had everything, 3-wheelers, snowmobiles, like had a car when he was 16, water beds, like, you know what I'm saying?
Word.
So just trying to be like him and got into that stuff. But then but Pharrell like made that like cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, oh, I know
Yeah.
I know all about that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah, because you have been doing it since the 80s.
Yeah.
And it was just natural to you. And another thing I noticed right away, just from being, because again, like, you know what I'm saying, just from being on the scene and being out, like we had mutual friends.
Very true.
I knew the barbering, right? You know what I'm saying? And it just seemed like every slick guy in the hood growing up was the barber. Like your barber was the slickest guy. You know what I'm saying? Like his barber, super slick to him. My brother, super slick. You know what I'm saying? Like you, Sean Rose, like the guys that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Sean is my mentor, Sean Rose. Like he really when I got out of barber college, him and Maury took me under their wing and just basically kind of taught me everything they knew, everything that I could, they answered any question I had about different techniques. And then I would just sit in the shop and watch them. Like when they was working at the Answer on 79th. Like I would, and you know, and then they was the first barbers to be rolling like hustlers.
Right.
Like cars with rims and, you know what I'm saying,
Boy, it
getting
was cold.
clothes made and,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And it was like, man, they live like drug dealers. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they got pickup trucks with graphics with gold Daytons on them. And, you know, it's just like, wait, they got that money from cutting hair? So that was the first time I was like, I like cutting hair, and I would, you know, my boy Bilal, who was Mustafa Rock's little brother, like I met him when I moved back to the hood after living in Flossmoor. And so I met him in 8th grade, and then that's when I met Mustafa. And you know, that family, they from the Bronx.
Exactly.
So when I'm in 8th grade, my best friend family is from Bronx, New York. And so we would, you know, 8th, 9th grade, Bilal would be hitting me like, yo, we got to go to the crib. Kid Capri at the crib. I'm like, Kid Capri?
Crazy.
He like, yeah, Mustafa, no Kid Capri. And so I'm seeing all of this rap world like in real life.
Right.
You know, Mel
What
Jackson.
year was this?
This was like 88, 89.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Mel Jackson, who was an actor in Soul Food and all that. That was one of Mustafa's best friends.
Exactly.
So we seeing like, this dude is in Hollywood projects. And we just 13, 14 years old being around this.
Yeah. And so you posted a picture the other day. Because, you know, it's been this big thing about certain brands coming back.
Oh, you mean like what you rocking right now?
Yeah, I mean, I had to go do it.
Oh,
you know
the newest, latest.
Look, I had to do it. I had the OG on yesterday when I went and bought it. It was like, but I'm like, no, I had to do it. But brands like Jabot, right? Stuff that we was wearing in the late 80s. You know what I'm saying? What is your like passion for fashion? We like to ask people like, when did that fashion bug hit you?
Okay, so it started with the skate stuff, because that's when the Vision streetwear, you know, all of that type of stuff. So that's because that's really where streetwear comes from. People want to argue with me about it.
They do all the time.
But that's where it comes from. The brand has streetwear in the name. Right?
Definitely.
We wasn't calling it streetwear. That's not what we was calling it. That's what they was calling it. You know what I'm saying? The skate companies.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where it first started, because this is a completely different world that got their own graphics and their own type of stuff, right? Now, we got our stuff too. So like what I said, when I moved back to the hood, I meet Bilal and Mustafa. Now Mustafa also had his own brand, Brother Man.
I remember
and them hats is being worn on television, on Living Single. All them hats on that show, Living Single, he making that. So we seeing him make the stuff and then turn on the TV and it's on TV, right? So we seeing that, and this is 8th grade, 9th grade, 13, 14 years old, we seeing this, right? So this is real to us. This isn't just like no pipe dream, right? So then when we move back and I start high school, all you hearing about is, man, you see them Jabos? Man, you gotta get them Jabos. Oh, he had on the purple Jabos. Ooh, they got the Jabot overalls. Ooh, this, and this. And it's also, you know, you in high school, you ain't really got, this a real French fashion brand right here. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't really got the money for that. So, you know, you do a little boosting.
Because I think it was 119 with tax, I remember.
You know what I'm saying? You do a little,
what they came out to.
You have a little trick where you wear the same color pants to the store, and you go in the dressing room and hang them back. So it looked like you hung up the same pants. But
definitely remember that era.
You know what I'm saying? But it was definitely Jabot. I was 15, like when you first legal to get a job. I got a job. I started cutting hair when I was 14, and then I got a job at Lincoln Park Zoo. Right? And every 2 weeks, on the way back from Lincoln Park Zoo, stopping at the Jabot boutique. All through the summer. Man, I come back to high school junior year, Jabot head to toe every day.
Killing them.
Every day. Air Max BWs, Pippin flights, and Jabots every day, and like leather trench coats. You know what I'm saying?
Like I try to tell the young boys, we ain't do them straps. Yeah, we ain't touched them straps.
Nah.
That ain't nothing else. We don't.
We was on the Hill Figure and Polo and we was on the Grand Poobah
Right.
on another level. Helly Hansen and
The
all
Hellies, you know what I'm saying? That's what we was really into. That's why I hated when Tony's closed, man. You know what I'm saying? When Tony Sports closed, it was hard for you to get.
Yeah.
It was hard for you to get them real pieces.
Yeah, because Tony's was like where you could get what you saw in Rap City was in Tony's.
Was in Tony's.
Was the straps out when the regular Jabot era was?
Straps came out 2000.
Oh, okay, so yeah, it was way later.
Yeah, Straps came out 2000.
Yeah. I remember that one cut. I forgot the name of it that I loved. It was like a cowboy.
Yeah, Skinny Cowboy.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, that
with
was
the twisted pocket.
Yeah, shit. Them was the illest ones. It had a little stack to it, a little flare at the
I
bottom.
like the antiques too.
Yeah.
But them Brand X's.
Brand X.
But the Brand X's.
Everybody knew the Brand X.
Dude with the little pocket on the side, man.
That was the uniform. Yeah.
I'll tell you, boy. I remember I was in high school, man, and this girl was like, "What's that?" Right across my joint. You know what I'm saying? She's like, "What's that?" You know what I'm saying?
Little tag
I was
right
like,
there.
"Yeah." You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
And yeah, so you was either a Jabot dude or you was a Cavarici dude.
This is Cavarici.
And I wasn't no Cavarici
Right,
dude.
wasn't no Cavarici dude.
Nah, it's funny you say that because for years, like Twin said, we've been speaking on that. We wanted almost like a grooming episode because shout out to Sean Rose. Sean was supposed to come up here and shock you. Because I told him that we had you up here, you know what I'm saying? I talked to him earlier today.
That's my OG right there,
Yeah,
man.
Shout out to Maury too, man. Them my guys, man.
Yeah.
I get a lot from them. We all done got a lot from them, man. Just the energy. He called me Monday. He was watching episodes, and I'm like, it's funny you called because will be up here this weekend, whatever the case is. He was going crazy. But no, I wanted to speak on that because I feel like the grooming part is just, I don't want to say it's a lost art, you know what I'm saying? Maybe because a lot of people got hair and this and that. I just always thought that was the most important thing, you know what I'm saying? And it was important, like Twin said, yo, Barber had to be that dude because that was kind of like the stylist / you know what I'm saying, innovator. Like, I've always was strong, like, bro, I got to look at you and you got to understand why I need my beard like this, like the look I'm going for, telling me, like, nah, you get what I'm saying? Speak on that, man.
Okay, so, yes. I have a philosophy about this, what you talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I used to cut like some of the heavies, right, out here, right? And Sean Rose, this was one of the real heavies back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Sean like sent them to me. We got to know each other with me hanging out at Sean's shop. And Sean was like, no, you could go to Ibn. Cause I would like cut Maury. Cause they would test me. They would, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Maury got his cut by him, you know what I'm saying? And so they're like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go check them out. So Mellow Swing opened on 95th.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when everybody started coming because this was the new big salon. Like, you know what I'm saying? 8 barbers, 6 beauticians,
Definitely.
2-story salon, music studio,
Yeah.
pool table. Like, you know what I'm saying? This was like the hangout, right?
Yeah.
Cause I tell people, I'm like, man, the shop I worked at looked like the beginning of Paid in Full. That's what it looked like.
Wow.
All the hustlers pulling up. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so this heavy, he came in one day. Now I got on like, I had the penny foam posits when they came out in 96, right? $200 Nikes, like what?
Yeah.
And I'm like cutting hair in them.
Right.
Tommy Hilfiger overalls, right? So I'm cutting them one day and he coming like twice a week. At that time, I'm charging like $20 for a haircut. He paying $50, you know what I'm saying? Tipping, double, coming twice a week. So he basically paying my booth rent.
Got it.
Right? Like everything else, the whole week is profit.
Word.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm, new car, apartment. I'm 18 years old.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like me, Don C, we 18, new cars, own apartments, money, wearing Versace, wearing Moschino.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even in the documentary, I'm rocking Masoni.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the doc, right? So this heavy, he says to me, he's like, you know, I see you be fresh. I know you look in your closet like, look at all this garbage. And I was like, what? And he was like, you know, I know you be looking in your closet like, look at all this garbage. And I was like, what you mean? And he was like, you know, I got the rollies, cause this dude, he had everything Biggie and Puff, everything Biggie and Puff had in the videos, he had it.
Right.
He ain't never driving the same car to the shop.
Right.
Right? Land Cruiser on truck bones, like
SL
Benzes, 300 ZXs, the new Corvette, like every week he pulling up in something different, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, what you mean like all this garbage?
Right.
And he like, you know, I just dress like this so people could shop with me. Cause they look at me and they be like, oh, okay, I need to get work from him so I can be rolling like that. I can be looking like that. And I was like, oh, I get what you mean, because why would you come to me for style if I'm not looking stylish?
Exactly.
If I got on a dirty sweatsuit, because it's like you're getting hair all over your clothes, right?
Yeah.
You cutting head after head after head all day, 10 hours a day. You getting all this hair on, and it's like, man, and people would say, man, why you wearing your good clothes in the shop? I'm like, you coming to me for style.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I had a homie, Mick, he was cold. He was the first guy I really saw, like, wearing the wheats, cutting hair in the wheats. And I'm like, Joe, how you?
That's how my man
like, bro, you getting them dirty, bro.
How you cutting in the wheats, Joe? I'm like, this is crazy to me. Like, we trying to preserve these. You in here, like, he's like, no, twin, like, that's what we doing. I'm wearing them to work.
Because somebody new come up in that shop.
Yeah.
They gonna be like, they gonna look at the head in the chair, and they gonna look at the person behind the chair.
Yeah.
And then it's just gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna wait on dude. He got 3 people. Yeah, I'm gonna just wait.
Right. Shout out my barber, Raj. He's one of the fly ones that do that to the day.
Raj
he get fly to come cut hair.
Yeah.
Every day you looking at him. He can literally go out as soon as he's finished cutting.
Yep.
And that ain't what he's doing.
Because that's how it used to be.
Yeah, I know.
Especially in the 90s. Because the barbershop, you was in that boy to 11, 12 o'clock. And you was leaving straight, you know what I'm saying? Because my brother, like, they was leaving, like, they in there all night. Because, like you say, the hustlers, they coming through, you know what I'm saying? The heavies coming through, and it's like, all right, cool. They getting right before they go to the party, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And you ain't got time to run to the crib, you know what I'm saying? So you got to have yours, boom, 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 because we got to get to Dragon Room. We got to get to wherever we got to go before they get to talking about some right?
And I call it the day club. That's what I call it.
The barbershop.
Because it's the day club.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cutting the party promoters.
Yeah.
They got the party pluggers.
Yeah.
In there, you know, this before the internet, you know what I'm saying? So they got the party pluggers. We know what the restaurants is.
Exactly.
We know the other different shops. Also used to call it the nigga net.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Before the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
And so because I know the party pluggers, I'm like, yeah, you come to the day club to get ready for the nightclub.
Exactly. So let me ask you this. So what happened? So did Don bring Ye through? How'd you meet Ye?
All right, so the way I met Ye, well, you know, back then everybody was hearing about this phenom, this 16-year-old kid that was making beats. And see, back then we didn't know nobody had no record deal.
Right.
Like Common and Twista and R. Kelly.
That was it.
Was the only people with record deals. Like you didn't, like Chicago, we didn't know people with like record deals. This ain't New York City. Where like Jay-Z and Biggie and all of them went to Washington, that high school.
Yeah.
Like all of them went to the same high school.
Buster, everybody,
Like this ain't the same place, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we was hearing about this this kid. I'm cutting Manop. Me and Manop is neighbors.
Okay.
Right? We live right across the street from Kenwood in Hyde Park. Like literally like like I live on the corner and he lived 2 buildings down, right? You know, we're all 18, 19, own cribs. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So we just all neighbors. So I was just, you know, I'll be hanging out at Manop crib when I'm not in the shop or whatever. And then he like, yo, you know that kid? I'm managing him now, right? And I'm like, oh, word? Now at that time, Manop was teaching me how to use an ASR 10. Because I grew up with Bilal and Mustafa and them.
Because they was DJing.
So we was in
Right.
the Stoogie crew. So it was like me, Bilal, Charlie Clark, Dap, Lemonhead Joe, and Delbert,
Right.
and 220 Marlon. So we would all be DJing in the house in Moose house, right? And I was like fresh out of high school. That's also when I met JB too,
Okay.
right? Because Sunil brother was JB best friend. So I known all of them since I was like 17, right? And then Manop told me that he started managing Kanye. Like, I'm managing that kid that did the Gravity album, that did all the beats on the Gravity album, right? And I'm like, oh, I bet. And then he was like, maybe like a week or two later, he was like, man, you remember that kid I told you about? He was like, I went over his house. And he was just like, man, who cutting your hair? Like, you got like perfect haircuts. And I was like, man, tell him like I'll cut his hair if he like give me, cause we had heard his beats.
Right.
I'm like, man, I'll cut his hair for free if he like help me with the beats. And he was like, cool, right? So that's how we ended up meeting him. And then I was talking to Mustafa about this like a couple months ago. And he was like, man, I remember Kanye used to come over to the house and y'all used to trade belts and like, oh, I got this Fendi belt. Let me get that Gucci belt.
Wow.
He was like, y'all been on that like since y'all was teenagers.
Yeah.
And I was like, you remember that? I was like, I don't even remember that. You know what I'm saying?
Surely I go.
Yeah.
So when did y'all? So as far as like with the fashion, because amongst the inner circle, there is a perception that a lot of the influence came from guys like you and Don.
Yeah, true.
As far as the fashion, right? I mean, and I'm one of the culprits. If they ask me, I tell them, Ibn was up on this early.
This is true, but we all had our own, because even Manop was fresh back then.
Yeah, he was. He was slick as hell.
Manop was fresh back then too, right? So
especially the skinny Manop.
We all, cause like Ye had like a anchor, like a Gucci link with an anchor when he was 16.
Mm-hmm.
He had like, he had like truck jewelry. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like back when they used to say that. So he would have like polo and stuff like that. And so that's how we all bonded, because we all respected each other's style. And we all the children of Demdare.
Right.
Like that's where it comes from in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Doubt.
Like it's Reg, Twilight Tone, Common. We're the sons of those guys, right? So, in the late great Tim is then the generation up under us. You know what I'm saying? So we got the seed planted from the Demdare kid, from the Demdare movement, and then we started doing it in our own way, because Manop was the next evolution of the parties,
right,
from the Demdare parties, right? With bringing Tone up to the Dragon Room and the Biology Bar and all of that type of stuff, right? And like Manop put a lot of this
together
stuff. He's the conduit for a lot of this hip hop stuff, because he saw Crush Groove and he wanted to be Russell Simmons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I always saw him as that. You know what I'm saying? To me, I was like, that was my.
And back then, he, Manop, he got that numbers thing. He could do weird calculations with numbers in his brain back then. Mm-hmm. So it was like he didn't need the counter at the door. He could like do that when he was like 18.
Wow. So fast forward, right?
Wow.
So let's fast forward to College Dropout. Around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And because we always like to talk about, this was the time when the world started to notice, like, oh, these niggas from Chicago, they kind of fly. They get to do this. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how that went, because we asked Don about it, but I don't know if we really got tell us how that era was, fashion-wise, in your input.
Okay, so that was the beginning of the internet, because we probably the first crew with laptops.
Right.
Right. We're the first internet rap crew,
Yeah.
right? Blogs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you had to have a laptop, you had to know what the domain was. Like, you know, this wasn't just like, click the link. Like, it wasn't, like, you had to know. You had to be, like, savvy with technology, right?
Yeah.
So, it was, like, Ye had his first apartment on 95th Street. I remember him telling me the story. He had the crib on 95th Street. He was making beats for people for like $600 or whatever. And he said, Just Blaze, he was on the phone with Just Blaze. And then Just was like, oh, I gotta hit you back. Busta just walked into the studio. And then Ye said he looked around and he was just like, man, he said Busta just walked into the studio and I'm in the studio with a bunch of busters. And he said that's when he was like, man, I gotta get out of here. like I gotta move. I gotta move to New York, man. Like, so he moved out there. And cause this is how we build up to the college dropout, right?
Okay.
So he moves out there. This Can't Be Life is the first beat.
Joint.
The first beat that gets picked. Like it's first placement with Rockefeller, right? And so it's just like, and it's the Ye style, right? The Ye beat style, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? And so it's that, and then the Blueprint, and it's just like,
now we go.
oh shit, right?
Yeah.
And Monop and Don is out there in New York with him. And you know, every once in a, you know, I'm talking to them, they come through the city, and they like, man, bro, we can't get no good fades out there. Like, we be coming back just to get a fade, like, right? And I'm just like, okay, cool. And then every once in a while, Ye is like, man, bro, you need to move out. You need to move out here. I'm like, man, I'm not about to start over.
Right.
But I'm like, when you can match what I make, I'm out of here.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You match what I make, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, cool. And then I remember he was like, all right, they gonna give me the deal. Right? And I'm like, all right, bet. So he's like, what you said, you still gonna do it? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, cool. My mom gonna call you to set up the bank account. And then Miss West called me, set up the bank account, and all this. And it was like, all right, cool. And then I remember he flew me out to LA like right after the accident. So he had like healed up. But he was still like camped out in the W, right? So he had all the studio equipment in the W. And he was like, man, I like being out here because I can just work on stuff and ain't nobody like looking over my shoulder. Like trying to make me do beats for other artists and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was out there, you know, it's my first time in LA. It was like around Christmas. I'm walking around, it's 70 degrees. And you know, being from Chicago, I'm like, what the fuck? Like we walking outside with a hoodie on and this Santa Claus, like what?
Culture shock.
And so we was out there working on the stuff. And, you know, album come out. And so at that time, Ye had those the college with the Godfather logo. With the Bill Gates one, like everybody's like mugshot t-shirts, right? So he got those made, and he even got a bar where he's like, every stylist want to know where they could get the shirts, right? So we got that bar. So that was like our thing. Like me, Don, and Ye was like, we fresher than your stylists. We don't need no stylists. You know what I'm saying? That's how we can't. Because we was looking at Rap City, MTV, raps, all this type of stuff. We looking at that every day. So when we went to New York, and the New York dudes was like, man, y'all fresh every day. We like, wait, y'all not fresh every day?
Look, G, when I realized that them people wasn't fresh every day, I said, oh.
Wait, y'all have stylists?
Yeah. So when you see it, you like,
Oh, it's crazy.
and you like, y'all not really this.
Oh, it's really
Like,
like
the
the,
first time-
most mind-blowing thing in the world.
The first time I peeped it, I was like, oh, y'all not really this? Y'all just this on TV?
Man, because
Yeah.
we the way it's looking to us, we
Yeah.
we just
Right.
looking like, oh, it's 40 belows,
Every
40
day.
below Tims.
Come
and
No scuffs on them, you know what I'm saying?
Man, like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, boy, look, man.
It was a real culture shock for all us, man. That's like when we went to Paris, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, you like, oh, this ain't what y'all do. Like, okay, but
Right.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Man.
So we did that. We just peaked game, and so Don is the person that made retro Jordans a thing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Cause wasn't no retro Jordans.
Right.
Like we left March 23rd, 2003. That's when I left Chicago to go on the college dropout tour.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Album came out February 10th. 2004?
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
Right? March 23rd, 2004 is when like a month after that, that's when the tour started. That's when I bounced, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so on the tour, oh, we in Virginia. We hitting the mom and pop.
Yeah,
Oh, these the East Coast colorways of the.
yeah,
So we just
yeah.
Mhm.
every city we going to the
Right.
sneaker spot. Boom, 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 boom. Don like, oh, I heard about this because you know Don is basically like the internet before the
internet, yeah,
internet,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and he was a futures trader since he was 18 working.
Exactly. At
So
the
he
time.
understand the market.
Yeah.
Like that's why Don's so cold, like because he understands like the stock market and all
Yeah.
of this when he was a teenager, right?
Yeah.
So we would go around and he was doing the jersey, so he would just have all these sportswear connects from everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So every city we pulling up in, we hitting the sneaker spot. I'm talking about like me, Don, yeah, we just boop, we
Right.
out here.
Right.
Like this how we doing it.
Word.
Cause you ain't making money off beats. You like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm hitting these marks off this beat money. Like,
Yeah.
let's go shopping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We driving to Philly,
Mhm.
hitting South Street. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
just doing all of that type of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that cause we love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the game. Like,
100%.
like
Yeah.
we love it. It's a sport to us. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Definitely.
And you know my environment, like being a barber, is like I'm seeing the women fresh out the chair.
Mhm.
Like I'm getting the guys fresh.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? And it's that barbershop environment. Oh, fam, how you gonna come in here with them dusty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's play. Man, don't be coming around here with that.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
come, man. Guys get dressed to go to the shop.
Yeah,
Bro,
we
especially if it's girls
bagging
in the
on
shop.
you. Ain't none of that
Yeah,
nice.
Bro, sidebar, that was the first time my barber hurt my feelings because he went from being in the shop by himself to cutting around some women. And the
Mhm.
man told me next week, like, bro, next week when you come in, put some clothes on, man.
Mm.
And I was mad at him. Like, fuck you telling me to get dressed to come to the, but I understood it because
Yeah.
it was like the
because
the
it's-
day club, like you
Cause it's
said,
like,
bro.
yo, you one of my clients. Cause
Yeah.
like I was appointment only,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, man, I'm giving you a slot. So like
Word.
you can't
Help
like
the
you
decor of the
represent me.
joint.
Yeah, no doubt.
He
You
told to help the
represent me.
decors off.
And I got you like I'm choosing to be in salons
Word.
with women instead of being in the barbershop.
Right.
You know, I did the walk-in with the barbershop, but now I'm appointment only. So
Yeah.
I want to be in this nice environment. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, listen, man.
And you get better tips.
Yeah.
Come on. You know, I grew up in a barber shop, so that's just it.
Because the
so that's
heavies,
it.
the heavies want the girls to see.
Actually,
Yeah.
all the whole
Oh,
transaction.
I'm paying him triple.
No doubt. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Pee Wee, Brian, man, with Manifest to keep that whole
Yeah.
flow going. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? With the barber shop, the coffee shop, the clothing.
Clothing.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
And the bar,
absolutely,
yeah. It's just,
absolutely.
That shit is
yeah,
dope,
it's
man.
a one-stop shop.
Yeah,
Man,
and I
boy.
feel like that's how everybody was supposed to evolve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be a one stop. Like I get my whole day in here, man.
Hey boy, I done had some conversations with that man,
Yeah,
giving him his flowers,
yeah.
you know, and yeah, we done talked about
Yeah.
some
Shit.
man. You know what I'm saying?
No
Like,
doubt.
Cause that's amazing. When
Yeah,
when him
the
and
shit.
Autumn doing, man,
Boy,
it's
that shit
amazing.
cold. And they about to open in he say June is gonna be
Yeah.
the opening. So
Big
y'all
state.
in DC,
Yeah.
make sure y'all check out Manifest.
Manifest, man.
That's and they products of us. That's our family.
And after hours, check the vibe upstairs,
Yeah.
man. It's a one stop.
Speakeasy.
It's just everything,
Yeah,
man.
you gotta see it, and just with his eye and how he
He get it.
do it.
Yeah.
So
Brian, get it.
fast forward. So we talked about Cool, how y'all ushered in the Jordans, right? Made them retro to mics,
Yeah.
right? Now let's get to the high fashion, because all of a sudden now y'all going to Paris,
Yeah, and we wasn't invited.
right?
That's what a lot of people. I mean, you know, the culture made fun of us,
Absolutely.
but now you ain't popping if you ain't in Paris.
Right.
Yeah.
So
No, I say that all the time.
who
to Don.
was right?
No. You was right, because I say this to Don every time, and I don't care how many times he gets tired of me saying it. I say it to you. We all in it because y'all kicked in the door, man, and took the bullets. You know what I'm saying? For everybody to be like, yo, like I would see y'all and be like, yo, I knew in my mind I was getting busy, but it was always like, it ain't good enough, you know what I'm saying, if it ain't hitting what they doing. Even though I knew in my own right, you know what I'm saying, and I'm doing what I do, but y'all was the mood board, man. I have no problem saying that. That's why it was vital with all you guys. Like, it's just, it's a lost art, but just speak on that, man, because I always want to know that too. Like, what was the thing that turned y'all and switched y'all, like, yo, or even the mixture, like, yeah, we mic, but let's see what Saint Laurent is doing too, and let's mix this shit, like.
Well, so it was two people, right? It was it was, of course, Pharrell.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Pharrell was like the regular black dude amongst the street gods.
Yeah.
The Jay-Z's and the, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I knew where Pharrell was from. I was from the same place.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I'm
100%.
saying? That skate world, right?
Right.
So, and that the art and the skate and all of that type of stuff. I was from that same world, but being in Chicago, he was in Virginia, right? So it was him with who we saw like, oh no, we got to do it like that, right? But the person who put the battery in the back was Dame.
Okay.
Wow.
Dame, like the first time I met Dame, I was in London because he was on some like bring your crew to London.
Word.
Because Dame shot a MTV Cribs episode in London.
Word. I remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that one.
Yeah.
So that was when I met him on that trip, right? And he would always be in your ear like, you're the one that could take over the world.
Wow.
Because Dame was all, because they was New York Fashion Week.
Right.
Dame was on his downtown Soho, Fat Five Freddy, like that punk and art mixed with the hip hop and the models.
With Rachel.
Yep.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
he had that sensibility, and he was like, "Yay, you the one that could do it."
Wow.
So, and this before College Dropout had
Okay.
came out,
Right.
right?
Wow.
So when we dropped it, we did the national tour, and then that second album, the late registration album, that's YSL, Bottega.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
arenas.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
John Bryan, co-producing.
Yeah.
It's Radiohead.
Yeah.
It's all right. Now, what's the other stuff?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. We figured out the hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, now what's music?
Right.
Fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the sportswear.
Yeah.
Fuck the hip hop shit.
Right.
That's child's play. Now, where's the big boy stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause nah, bro, touching M's.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
He even brought back the live performances. Like hip hop artists wasn't doing no live performance with stage design and all that. Like, dude brought a lot of that stuff back. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that's when the high fashion, because that's when he was like, okay, now we're gonna go to Europe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna do the festivals. We're gonna, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna explore the world.
Word.
And then the third album was We Lived in Japan. And then that's when like Pharrell was already embracing, but that's when it was like Nigo was like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah. So that's the third album. That's Graduation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Graduation era, that was, because I usually go by with Ye Music. I can pretty much tell you what y'all was wearing through the albums, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Graduation era, that's what
it's definitely more common.
Yeah. That's what the Can't Tell Me Nothing is on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the video, the Poopa style video, you know what I'm saying, with the DeLorean. You know what I'm saying? That's when the Murakami Jesus piece, like it's all hitting me, you know what I'm saying? Just as we, you know what I'm saying? And that's what, like I said, bro, I'm gonna get to even fast forward. I don't even know if we fast forward. And I just know personal shit about you, man. Just because I know, and I feel like this is my job to bring, you know, some people that don't know and be like, damn, I ain't know Ivan. You had this blog, man. That was crazy, and it was early, man.
It's still up too.
Yeah, didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
And my Tumblr still up. I just leave it up as like an archive.
You should, yeah. I stole a lot from that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was just it was
for.
a mood board.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I want to speak on like I just know certain pictures. You know what I'm saying? When did you meet Lupe? Because I know you guys.
I don't even know when I met Lupe. Like. Yeah. Because like Lupe was bubbling as a rapper, like, you know, in Chicago. Yeah. He was bubbling as a rapper when Ye was bubbling just as a Rockefeller producer.
Definitely.
So Lupe was really like the first like,
because he was signed first too.
Yeah, he was like the first like rapper of the new era, like to be bubbling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just remember we was in Tokyo at this festival with Nigo, and like Nigo gave me like a bait barber cape with sleeves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Ye wears the barber cape
to perform.
Yeah.
I saw
like
that.
It's a cape.
Right.
He like, oh, wear it backwards. Right.
I remember that picture. He had the BBC hat on to go with it. Yeah, I remember that.
So he wears that. So I remember I was with Lupe, and I don't even remember when we met, but it seemed like he just always been my friend or something. I don't even remember.
Because in my mind, I was always saying like, all right, you know what I'm saying? He met him or whatever. Because again, you know, like, because just knowing you, like I said, knowing you all them years, I was always, in my mind, I was like, that's Ivan influence. I'm like, because then of course you had the guys. I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like you and like me. He was like, no, he was always that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you had the guys who were like, Lupe don't do that. He ain't no skater. He whatever. And I'm like, well.
No, that's not true.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I know Ivan skate. I know this who he is. Because even when I lived in Humboldt Park, I used to see you skating down Division.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, this man really do this. Yeah. So I know like the skate culture is
skate at Clemente.
Right over at Clemente. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, this is really who he is. So because I knew that. I'm like, no, I know what Ivan do. You know what I'm saying?
But Lupe was always on that, right? Okay. And so I guess that's why it just like I knew I didn't know him, but then it was like I didn't know him. Yeah. And then we was homies.
Right.
Wow.
But I don't remember meeting him or anything like that. Because we already knew about each other or whatever. So when we met, it was just like,
yeah, it's time.
Yeah, you know. But I remember him telling me at that festival, he was like, come to the dressing room with me. And we walk into the dressing room and he was like, yeah, I said your government name on the song. And I was like, what? Because I had a plan. Because my blog was Ferrari Murakami, right? Mm-hmm. So people was calling me Ferrari.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
Because if somebody calls me Ferrari, they know me from this blog. They don't know me.
Word.
Right?
And that shit was so cold, though.
What?
The Ferrari Murakami shit was cold.
But Lupe fucked up my shit.
With your government.
Yeah. So now I'm like on tour, Ivan. And I'm like, does this motherfucker know me?
No, that blog was the shit, G.
So especially that picture. So Joe, that one picture.
Bro, I can tell you 5 pictures of Ivan. I can tell you a picture of Ivan with this silly ass jean jacket with the Ferrari patch on. You know what I'm saying? My favorite picture
that shit was cold.
Was the the Ferrari and that bike for you. That shit was so.
That was at a hundreds party.
Man, that shit was so ill, bro. It was so much shit, man. We used to be on the block. I remember the excitement when you niggas got the Yeezys early, man, and just y'all, you and Don playing, bro. Like all this shit, like
in front of the Warhol and shit.
Yeah, bro. Like y'all in front of fucking Warhol picture, bro, with the Yeezys, bro. Don posing this shit, bro. Like I'm like, yo, these niggas is like, bro, this is what it's supposed to be. It just looks so fun, man. Just speak on that, bro. Like, I know we bouncing, but I mean, you got history, but let's talk about the moment when the first Nike shoe, bro, like came with Ye and how y'all felt then. What was to it, man? I'm gonna tell you one time you stunning on me before we even get to this shit. We was at the fucking, shout out to Charlie from Nike and Dave Jeff. We got flew in for the Nike 25th year anniversary for the Air Force One. Yeah. That's the illest party I've ever been to in New York. And we in there all fresh as hell. Me and Dante made some leather jackets, one-of-ones. We got our ones on they gave us. And Ivan and them walk in and was like, nigga, we just got off the Nike jet. Y'all gotta see this shit. Like, we just all talking to Ivan for 20 minutes, bro. Then Ye performed. The shit was just, you remember that party, bro? That shit was just like, just a different time. But speak on that, man, with the Yeezy shit, man, when that happened, bro. Like, what was to it?
You know, that shit is crazy working with Nike and then being like, I don't know if we the first rap crew, but cause Ye whole shit was like, no, I would have been in art school, but I decided to leave art school. I didn't want to work on the album cover. I wanted to be the person on the album cover.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And so one of my things I used to always say, because people with rappers, they'd be like, the rapper and his entourage. And I'd be like, no, we not an entourage, we a staff. We was already professionals in our field before Ye got his deal. Like I was 28 when Ye hired me. I had already been like top 3 barbers in the city for 10 years.
Easily.
Already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
We was doing this already. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so we knew how to make money. We already had, you know, established our taste levels and all of this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, Ye was already one of the best producers in the history of hip hop before he put out an album.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what he told me. He was like, I need you to do everything you do for the city. Do it for me now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because me being a barber, I'm like a concierge. Yeah. I'm like a hood concierge. Yeah. Like, no, it's Tuesday night. You want to go to this spot. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you about to take it? Man, I'm telling you, you need to hit this spot
what the barber is.
You know? Yeah. And so so now we took that show on the road. And like how we gonna show, because what we learned from like Hove and Nas and Mobb Deep and all of them was like, you gotta show them how you living. Your lifestyle, right? So that's what we did, right? And then so to bring it to when you get invited to the Nike campus, it's like, all right, it's time. And like I remember being in the kitchen with Tinker and Mark Parker, and we just in the Nike kitchen, and they showing dude like samples of the Air Yeezy 1 on different
Tinker
soles.
Hatfield, for y'all who don't know, he designed
the Jordans.
He designed the Jordans, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they just there, and I'm just up in there like, wow. And they like, yeah, we got the laser machine right here. We can laser your laptop. Like I got a Nike laser MacBook.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Laser, like Don got laser Blackberries.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, right? And they showing us like different little uppers and different soles of the Air Yeezy, and they, you know, just they rapid prototyping and all this type of stuff, right? And I think that's like when Virgil had just started coming around then too, right? Yeah. And so he knew how to use all of the software and everything, right? Because like Ye got Ye is a visionary, but like Virgil got the skills
Yeah.
Right.
with all of the design software because he's an architect. So
Exactly.
making clothes is like that's
he know how
easy
to
for
use
him.
CAD, so
Yeah.
he know how to do.
Yeah,
he
it's
can do
easy.
anything.
No,
You know.
Shout out to Virgil. We speak about Virgil damn near every episode. Like we talk about Pete. I want to bring that up and speak to you about that too, because again, we was living through you guys just watching. I didn't know nothing. Well, I ain't gonna say I didn't know nothing about it, but I didn't get in tune to what was going on in Paris until we'd see what you guys would show us. You know what I'm saying, with Paris. And I know we bouncing again, but around the Virgil time, explain that going to Paris in that era when Virgil became like what he was deserved and you being there.
Hey man, you know, like V. So V was the intern. So you know who really is the hub and the wheel of all this is J Boogie.
Shout out to Jay Boogie,
Right.
of course.
So my older cousin
Alpha.
worked for J
Yeah.
Boogie,
Yeah.
right?
Hold on, I don't mean to cut you off, but Alpha Bailey, y'all, like he was the first. Like when Common said Alpha Bailey leathers, like he was the
Yeah.
first. He was doing the leather jackets. That's like he's another Chicago
Yeah,
icon that people don't mention at all.
yeah. And that's
But
my cousin.
That's your real cousin. Yeah.
Like, and he got me in the first barber shop I ever worked in.
Word.
And
Yeah.
he was like, I did that selfishly so I could get haircuts. And then I ain't know you was going to become like the best barber in the city. And you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And I'm like, man, my bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he was like, man, he's like, everything I always challenged you to do since you was like since you was like 1 year old, everything like you 5 years old, do a flip off the second step. You would do it.
Wow.
Do it off the top of the porch. You would do it. He
Yeah.
was like, everything, like, I got you in the shop.
Yeah.
You became like the best barber. He's like,
Yeah.
man, you make me sick. But he like joking with me, like,
Word.
you were just always
Yeah.
doing this,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So everything come from J Boogie.
And shout
right?
out to Boogie.
Yeah,
Because we shouted
absolutely.
him out last week when we did the DAP interview. That's the circle that I come
Yep.
from. And Virgil was there. We all was in there together. But
Yep.
go ahead.
So J Boogie had this intern named Virgil.
Yep.
And so Manop said he saw Virgil's work. And Virgil told me, he was like, I knew Manop was managing Kanye. So I would like do shit and then like leave, but I would like leave it out on my desk.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was like, I knew Manop would be coming in there.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, and Manop was like, who did this?
Yeah.
And Jay was like, oh, that's my little intern Virgil.
Yeah.
And so Manop, like, it's like this J Boogie and Manop thing is like,
Nah, what you
That's-
saying it, I saw it verbatim. That's
Yeah.
exactly how it was. Virgil will have his time where he leave at if we supposed to stop at 4:30. Virgil wasn't one of the guys where he just hang around, we drinking it and kicking it after hours. At 4:30, Virgil is all right, but the office he would stay in the corner and he would leave all that stuff out there. Now it's Manop in there. Now Dante in there. Dave, Jeff, we all in there at 7, 8 o'clock, but it was all under Jay.
Yep.
Yeah.
and that's how Virgil came around. And then he was, with that Illustrator, that Adobe
Yeah.
stuff, he was just
Yeah.
nice and like fast,
Yeah.
right? Because Ye would be, y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
So he would be like, but Virgil could keep up
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so, he was like an intern for maybe like a year,
Mhm.
Okay.
like intern. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't like in the crew,
Right.
Word.
right?
Yeah.
But like me and Don would like okay, you gonna be around, like we ain't gonna be sunning you or nothing, you know what I'm saying? And so we would just be like, man, he cold, like,
Yeah.
and he got like a eye for
Right,
stuff, and he
yeah.
had his own little sensibility, and he went to the Mies van der Rohe school, so he
Exactly.
knew all the Bauhaus and all of the like architectural history and all that type of
Like
stuff,
the
right?
terms.
Yeah.
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 So we would like learn that type of stuff because like Virgil taught me how to use all of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I can do my little stuff because I know he's
Yeah.
like literally sat me down
Yeah.
and was like, okay, this is this and this is that. And this
Yeah.
is how you use this and that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like taught me how to do it.
Word.
Nah, so now, so we already know. So Virgil comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so intern until like, so then
the Paris trip is like he could come to Paris.
Right. So now we all know about, okay, him and Ye decided to go to Fendi, right? And intern at Fendi.
What's a lot before that?
It's a lot before that, right? Because
before the Fendi
what I want to get to is your sneaker, like the having a LV sneaker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how did that's something that's crazy. Like
so that was a surprise.
Right.
But I knew, like I seen the shoes.
Okay.
But the names
you had no idea.
Was a surprise.
Okay.
Right? So all right, so like that first photo with Karl Lagerfeld.
Right.
Like that's what, because we was going out there, we wasn't getting in the show, we wasn't invited. We just found out the schedule.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we just pulled up.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would just go to the show, not get let in, but the pops would take pictures of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that, like those pictures is all outside.
Yeah.
No, I think Don said that on the show before, right?
Yeah.
Like them pictures is all outside, right? Yeah. But we went to this Lanvin show. We got invited to the Lanvin show. And it's in the venue, like, you know, the Chanel shows. Yeah. It's in that venue, right? Okay. So so we in there, and then like, cause they sat us front row at this Lanvin show. Like Ye and Don and a couple people was on this side, and like me and Bentley and a couple people on this side. So they got us like on front row on both sides of the runway, right? Mm-hmm. And so we get up after the show, and all the cameras just come straight to us, right? Yeah, right? So they taking flicks of us, and then we see like Karl Lagerfeld, like, and we like, damn. Cause you like, damn, this is the first time we seen Karl Lagerfeld in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, right? And he like over there, and then like his assistant like walks over, and he's like, excuse me, like, he would want to take a picture with you guys, and we like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Word. And then Karl walks over, and he like me, and now he don't even know who Ye is.
Right.
Wow.
He doesn't know that this is a rapper.
He just saw.
He just like, who is these new guys? Because if you watch the Karl Lagerfeld documentary, he's like, I'm always like, I'll go shopping. I'm like looking for the. He like, what's the new thing, right?
Right.
And so he was just like, he peeped us, and he was like, oh, this the new energy.
Yeah.
And we like, man, this a rapper. He like, oh, I don't know.
Right.
Right. And then he goes in his bag, so he got this bag, and he comes out with this like. He's got a bunch of like photos that you get developed, because again, this is like before the internet for real, right? Before social media, right? So he pulls out this like, they're pictures, but they're stapled together, like kind of like haphazardly, right?
Yeah. And
he flips, and then it's a picture of Taz, and he's like, and he points to Taz, and he's like.
Taz was part of his move.
And then Taz is like,
that's crazy.
Oh yeah, he took a picture of me when I was out here last year. And we like, what? We like, what? We like, what the fuck? We like, what the fuck?
He just downplayed it.
He like, oh yeah, I met Karl.
Because see, Taz been cold forever too, man. My homie Dave just gave me a book that it's a Them There book. But Reg was taking all these pictures back then.
I seen that book.
So I got pictures of Taz, like, I'm talking about 16, 17-year-old Taz, like, cold.
Yeah.
With him and Ali, just all the slick shit.
So we was there, and then that picture with all of us, like, Virgil and his wife, and Chris Julian, and Taz, and me, and Don, and then Ye and Karl standing next to each other. And this is when Ye had the 808s, the black mullet, the bullet. You know what I'm saying? And the haircut looked like Karl. The black version of Karl haircut. You know what I'm saying?
Word. Wow.
And so like that's what made the Paris shit take us seriously.
Yeah.
because Carl was like, nah, I'll fuck with them.
Yeah.
And he's the godfather.
Yeah, let me ask you this. So for all the heat you guys took for that picture, did the world that matter like embrace y'all and it like light y'all up at all? Like, did it change anything? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, the Carl photo, because like we wasn't getting let into shit. After that Carl photo, we could get into anything.
Anything.
We was getting invited.
To
Not pull up and let in, but
Yeah.
like, where's your hotel information? We would like to invite you to, you know what I'm saying? We was like, we got the schedule, we got the,
you got the personal invite, the joint on your pillow.
That's when that started happening.
Wow. Nah, man, that's crazy. So again, now, because I still want to know, like, I just really want to know, G, how does that feel when the whole world is going crazy over a pair of shoes from one of the most elite brands ever?
Okay.
And the shoe is named after you.
After you.
Okay, so the Yeezy, the Air Yeezy 1.
Mm-hmm.
We not giving you a royalty. It's charity. It's 6,000 pairs per colorway or 2,000 pairs with 3 colorways or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
That's what it was.
And you're not an athlete.
Right.
No royalty.
Mm.
Right?
Right.
You should be happy. Right? So it's yes and no. Like,
because in the hood sense of
but
things,
there's no other precedent. You know what I'm saying? There's no other precedent.
So you can't
right?
say, well, this non-athlete getting that, so no.
There's no other precedent, right? I mean, it's like, okay, y'all said it ain't no, we ain't no, yeah, you're right. We not an athlete, you know? So, and also, I don't think shit was like selling out like that.
Because of the price. What the price point was, like 12 and
like shit wasn't selling out
guys
like
was doing
that. You know what I'm saying? So they did that. So then the millionaires come out, right? So that's Pharrell with Louis, because Pharrell had that Louis relationship first, right? But that's Marc Jacobs.
That's Marc,
because wasn't no Louis clothes
100%.
before Marc Jacobs,
Right.
So Marc Jacobs comes, he brings that in, he bring Pharrell in. And of course, I think Pharrell had to co-sign the Ye thing, right? Because this is right after the Air Yeezy come out. Boom, Louis like, yeah, we'll give you a royalty. You could do a whole collection. What? Wow. Oh, we get to flex on Nike?
The fuck, man? Go from y'all.
These motherfuckers like, we ain't doing it. And then Louis like, oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll pay you.
It's all good. Matter of fact, multiple silhouettes.
Wow.
In multiple colorways. How many you want? Now, I done seen, well, people have seen these samples, but it's like samples that look like the Vans, the pink suede with the gold bear where you press the nose and it loosen the lace up and all of this type of stuff. The Hudson with the bubblegum Jasper colorway. You know, these is joints that didn't come out, right? So we seeing them all, and then I remember the day that the prices came out, because you know we didn't we ain't know what them prices was gonna be, right? So, and this was like, I think like Flight Club had just came out, right? And so, you know, so then it was like certain dunks, the Flam dunks, the Paris dunks, was like a G, 2 G's, stuff like that, right? And so then the price, that little price picture came out, but the price, it had the names on it, right? And I remember this kind of like it was yesterday. Like I got this call at like 7, and I'm like, fuck is calling me this early, right? I probably just came from the club, leaving at like 3 in the morning or something. Like, what the fuck is calling me? It's Ye. And he like, man, you see the prices? You see the price list? And I'm like, no. I'm like, Like, what you like, man, go look at the internet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I look and I'm like, Jasper.
That's how you learn.
And he was like, oh, you saw that? You saw that?
Damn.
And then what
man.
he said was, he was like, man, you know, they told me like how these products get the name, like the Christopher bag, the Louis Christopher bag, and the Birkin bag, and all this. He was like, the designer just named stuff after their friends. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna just name this shit after my friends.
That was ill. That shit was ill, man. Shout out. Hey, that LV Jasper was my favorite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Both of them, the black ones and the pink.
Yeah. They gave me the pink ones. They gave me one pair of pink ones.
One pair.
I love the shoes.
I bought the black ones, but they gave me one pair of pink ones.
Oh yeah, well you had to. I'd have bought doubles, man. I love them shoes.
At the time, when nigga couldn't afford all that
yeah,
because
that
the red Dons was the shit.
And
It was like a culture shock though, because you couldn't believe it. Like, these are awesome. But at the time, we wasn't paying that much for shoes then.
Yeah, because it was like Flight Club prices.
Yeah.
But that was the retail price.
Right,
Right.
that was the retail, right? Because I remember like the most expensive at that time might have been the Lanvin sneakers or something like that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they was
That you would get.
right,
Yeah.
Like
that you would get.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then after that, when y'all dropped, I was like, damn.
That like kicked it off.
But I just remember us being so in shock.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just fucked up. Because, see, I was at Nordstrom, and LV was downstairs, and they had them down there. Because people would come through and get them. And I was like, I was just in shock, like, Joe, this man, I ain't been done. They got shoes, Joe. I was like, these niggas got shoes, man. Like, I'm like, hey, man, we ain't gonna never catch them. Like, we ain't never gonna catch these niggas, man.
Because I know I can speak for you.
Yeah.
You would get to a level
Yeah.
and you like, yeah, I done caught these
I done
niggas.
caught
I
these
caught up.
niggas.
I done caught these niggas. Like, we watching y'all, but we like, yeah, I done got my watch
No,
together.
we surpassed everybody.
Oh, yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
We surpassed, like, that shit was, and that was some shit, like, they shared that
Yeah.
with us. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, that was some shit. And I remember being in Hong Kong at this, like, we went to this Louis event in Hong Kong to, like, do this shit. And we was with Pietro.
Okay.
So you'll see him at, like, the Pharrell show. Like, I could point him out to you in the Pharrell shows. He's in, like, the pictures and stuff, like, standing right next to Bernard and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we was, like, at the table at the party, and Dom was like, Pietro, man, I gotta talk to you about these prices, man. Like, and he was like, bro, like 1,200 for, man. Pietro was like, Don C, do not worry. This is Louis Vuitton. They will be sold out in 2 weeks.
It's crazy, G.
And Don was like,
That's so ill, G.
Yeah.
but he was like, this is Louis Vuitton.
Right.
It's a whole
And they were
different
sold
ball,
out in 2
man.
weeks.
Oh, it was gone.
Oh, what you mean, man?
Yeah,
This
it
shit
was-
was the illest shit, man. So
And there was definitely more than 6,000 pairs made.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, they knew what they was doing. They knew what y'all were. You know what I'm saying? Whoever co-signed it was like, nah, we're not gonna play with them. Let
I
them
mean,
do
that
them.
was the Marc Jacobs.
For
Like
real.
Marc Jacobs.
Yeah.
Like, it's certain people. It's like the J Boogie,
Yeah,
Monop,
yeah,
Pharrell, Marc Jacobs,
Yeah.
Dame Dash.
Right.
Like, it's these certain people that's just like this is the edge. Nah, I need to like
yeah.
Yeah.
we need to go. What we call it in skateboarding is NBD, never been done.
Right.
Like, you need to do something nobody's ever done before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I.e. Ghetto Runways.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
So that's crazy. Now, okay, so cool. So you do that, then all of a sudden, what happened? Because I just feel like at that point, people just started tapping, like started looking towards you for just inspiration. I know you did something with Diamond. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when the whole Diamond thing hit.
Yeah, well, it was when Ye put out that first Donda thing, the Donda chart.
Okay.
When he was like, it's gonna be a group of creatives and
Right,
from
yeah.
all these different things. So that's when we like did the Voltron.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then cause Jerry was doing parties and he started doing Fear of God, and then Ye would be like when you be out, if you see anything, bring it to me, right? Because I'm always out.
Yeah.
Like I'm always, and I'm in the skate world. I'm in the, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't just live in like hip hop Niggerville, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I'll be in like different worlds because that's just how I grew up, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, yo, and so I was like, I'm like, oh, this kind, you know, like at that time Jerry was very like Rick Owens.
No, yeah, I remember.
The fuck out. And Jerry's genius was, he was like, you know what Rick Owens is? It's Allen Iverson.
Explain that.
He's like, that's the Rick Owens swag. The baggy. Basket, because Rick Owens is sport, it's athletic, it's fitness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's fitness and workwear. And so Jerry was like, it's Allen Iverson.
Okay.
That he's like, it's just elevated Allen Iverson. That's all the Rick Owens shit is. Right? So he be in the party, Geo baskets, shorts, flannel, you know what I'm saying? And so he made his first t-shirt, which was like sleeveless, long.
Yeah, I bought it.
Rick joint, right? So I remember I was like, okay, the homie Jerry, he got this shit. And I was like, I told him, I said, all right, look, Ye told me if I see something that's cool to bring it to him. So you got to give me some, all right, you know, cool.
Right.
It go white and a black tee, right?
Right.
So I'll bring Ye the tees. He okay, right? And then you know Ye with the committee,
right?
Verge, what you think about this? Dom, what you think? You know what I'm saying? And then I remember like Jerry called me. He was like, Ye called me. And I was like, okay. Because I remember like, I think like Kim was shooting, it was like Kim and Courtney in Miami or something like that. That's why I went to Miami, and that's when I gave him the shirts or whatever. And then Jerry called me maybe like a week after that. He was like, Ye called me. And I was like, oh, okay, how it go? And he was like, well, for the first like 5 minutes, I'm like looking at the phone like, he sounds just like Ivan.
Y'all all sound like to me, bro.
He was like, man, he was like, it was Ye voice, but you just sound just like you, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like laughing and shit. He was like, because I guess that was his first time talking to him. It's weird to me when people I know, and they be like, you know, I never met Ye, or that was my first time talking.
Right.
And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Because I known him for so long.
Yeah.
So look, I want to get the timeline right, because remember we all came out there for our birthday. Me, Zoe, Jerry, me, Zoom.
Everybody,
right?
Yeah.
Y'all all came by the house.
Yeah.
Because Don had brought Jerry through the house first, and then you came for the party, and Timbo was DJing. What was this around the same time?
Yeah. Because Jerry hadn't got hired yet.
Right, because
Jerry
for some
wasn't
reason,
making clothes yet.
right, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't doing that yet. Okay,
party then.
Because I'm right.
Yeah, so Jerry would get, because he was, you know, because when I met Jerry, like Jerry was doing the parties, and I just remember like one day he was like, "Yo, I know who you are, and I'm from Chicago."
Yeah, so you ain't know
like,
Jerry from the crib.
No, I didn't.
Okay, because
right?
you had already moved.
No, look. All right, so this the Jerry story, right?
Okay.
So he would be like, I'm from Chicago. I remember him saying this, right? He was like, man, I know who you are. Like, this my party. Like, you straight. Like, you straight, right? Like, you whenever, like, you good at the door. Like, you could come whenever, right? And he like, I know, man, I know all y'all. I'm from Chicago. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool, okay. Right. And then he would just always be like, I'm from Chicago. And I'd be like, huh? Like... I know all of you know, like, what are you talking about? I ain't never seen you in no shop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No barbershop. Like, what are you talking about, right?
Right.
And so I remember asking Don, I was like, man, Don, like, why he talk? Like, I don't remember him. And so Don was like, he said, bro, you remember my Diesel era, right? When I was just always wearing Diesel. Because you know Don had like eras of clothes since we was kids, right?
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, I remember the Diesel era. He said, so that's who I was always getting the Diesels from. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then I always tease Jerry, like, where you went to high school at?
Right.
You ain't from Chicago. You know what I'm saying?
Because I remember when he first moved to Chicago. And I was like, because...
But his shit is honorary because of his pops.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know
of course. Yeah.
So it's,
it's,
Yeah, it's like that's a whole nother level of
it's
representing Chicago.
It's there. It's there.
Best LA party we ever had that weekend.
That weekend, my birthday.
We tore that weekend down. We went out there, right?
Greystone.
Yeah. Greystone nights. Another blog. Jerry used to have a blog too that you can catch up with what was happening. You know what I'm saying? He made sure you was on there every week, though.
Every week.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We kept up with it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, the Live Elevated.
Live
Elevated shit.
Yeah. No,
man, they just opened up that space. The Greystone space is a new club.
Wow.
Out there now.
Dope.
Well, that was a good time, man. That was, look, I don't know, man. That was a great time. Because, so again, I was just trying to get the timeline right because I'm already assuming, I'm like, okay, if he in LA, I'm like, cause again, I would see the pictures of you on the blog. I'm like, oh, so they already rocking. I'm like, so he already noted, like he already with the guys for real.
Well, I knew that plug was real because of who Hustle.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I'm in LA. I'm plugging with the And Jerry is like, I'm the party promoter. You say less, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Already, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
Dope. Yeah. So let's fast forward to what you got going with Converse.
So I was working at Diamond, helped Diamond, cause me and Virgil was roommates in New York, right? Mm-hmm. Me, Virgil, Mike Wax, and Mike Carson.
Right. Wow. I remember that. Yeah.
So we roommates in this condo in New York, and this is the Rosewood era when we all wear the Reservoir Dog suits, right?
Yeah.
So we all roommates. This when the Donda chart come out.
Yeah.
So I designed like when Virgil taught me how to use the Adobe shit, I designed my diamond shoe. Virgil came up with Pyrex. Mike Wax and Mike Carson came up with the whole Ill Roots, Ill America. We all came up with that in that crib. And we nicknamed that crib the Blog House. Like that was like our Bauhaus.
Wow.
Right? Because we all had blogs at that time. And then the Tumblr, that whole thing came into fruition or whatever. And so that's when we did that. So Nick hit me. Because I was cool with Nick since I had first moved out here, out to LA, right? I'm in Chicago right now. Right? But I'd known Nick since I first moved to LA because he would hit up my MySpace.
Yeah.
Right? And he told me that he was like, Jimmy Garecki showed him my MySpace.
Shout out to Jimmy. That's my man.
Yeah. And Jimmy was like, yo, you know him? Like he skate, but he be with like Kanye on tour with Kanye.
Yeah.
And Nick was like, I know all the skaters. How do I not know this dude, right? Because Nick knows all of the skaters, right? All the pros and AMs and everything, right? So he like reached out, and I'm just like, man, I know you, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so he would always be like, we need to do a collab, like, let's do, like, we got this picture of a girl with a double-edged razor blade on her tongue. Okay. That was like one of the ideas he came up with. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do like a Barber t-shirt. Like, but it wasn't, well, okay, cool. Like, whatever. Like, but we was just always cool. I would come hang out at the store and all that type of stuff. And he would like give me stuff. You know, Nick, mad generous like that, right? Yeah. So I was doing that. Then he was like, I'm starting a footwear category for the brand. You got some ideas? That's when I cooked up that snakeskin chukka boot joint. Did that, gave him that. So that shoe was one of the top sellers for the whole time it was Diamond Footwear. And then he opened up the skate program, had the skate team. We ended up getting Jamie Foy was Skater of the Year for Thrasher. In the shoes, one of the pairs of shoes that I worked on, because I was like maybe like third in line of the designers.
Yeah.
Because the Justin and them was like the head designers of footwear, so I would like learn everything from them. And I remember Nick, when I first got there, he was like, by the time you don't work here no more, you're gonna know how to make everything.
Wow.
You know, like that was like his thing. Like,
yeah,
you working here, but you're gonna learn how to make everything, right?
Yeah.
And so that did that. I worked there for 6 years. I was making the V2 of the Jasper, and then we went to the Bahamas for Ye's birthday, and I showed it to V. Now V is all off-white Nike at the time and all this, right? And I like showed it to him, and he like, man, this is next level Volk, like the vulcanized, like how the Vans and the Chucks is made, right? And he's like, man, this next level, how you doing this? And then he just called Converse, and he talked to Paul Middleman, and he was like, y'all got to do a collab with Ibn. And I was just like I'm talking about, he like looked at my shoe and was like, hey, so Ibn got to do he got to be the next collab with Converse.
Wow.
Right? And then I had like a talk, because I knew Paul, you know what I'm saying? I knew Paul. But he was like, yeah, you know, but like, we don't really know, like, because I'm like, because that's the thing, because I skate, me making a skate shoe is weird in the skate, because it's like you're not a pro skater.
Right.
So we can't really give you a shoe.
Got it.
Like if you didn't actually skate, we could have you do it, because you know we don't want the pros to be feeling like you gotta earn the shoe. You know, just like a hooper, you gotta like earn the signature shoe, right?
Yeah.
But I'm coming in like a designer and I skate, right? So it was kind of weird. Nick was in both worlds, so he could figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, Converse, they was like, we don't really know how to do it. Then I started the Stratica brand.
Yeah.
That's when Virgil got the Louis job. I remember being at the after party. Me and Rainey walking across the dance floor. I'm running to Paul. Now I got the Stratica showroom in Paris, right? And Virgil's like, everybody come to the party, like get some of this press.
Right.
Cause he, you know, Virgil, man, everybody get some, right?
Yeah.
And so I see Paul, and he's like, I know how to do it. And he pointed at my Straticas. He was like, that's what we gonna do. He was like, I'm gonna set up a meeting in 2 weeks when you get back.
Go.
Oh, see, that's
and then they was like, yo, we just re-signed Dr. J. We want you to, we're doing Pleasures, Midnight Studios, and we want you represent the Midwest. Pleasures East Coast, Midnight Studios is West Coast. You know, we want y'all to come up with versions of the Dr. J shoe. So we bringing it back. We redid the last, all this type of stuff, right? Like, all right, bet. Funny you said that, because my meetings be like 7 minutes.
You know what you do.
Oh, it's already got it mocked up. I don't need your design team.
Yeah, I got you.
I need your production team.
That's it. Yeah, do this.
I need your production manager.
Yeah.
I don't need your design team. My shit already tech packed out, right?
Do this.
So I like open it up. I got the Photoshop render of it. Like, oh yeah, you know, I actually rendered up a Dr. J.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's done.
And they like, oh, you already.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, that's what I was thinking too.
You know what I'm ready? Nah, we got like 7 minutes. So it's so much we want to ask you to where you got to figure out what you think. Go ahead.
That's what we had. So so speaking of brands, right? I had this conversation all the time, man. I said, if it wasn't for the guys, a lot of these men's stores definitely wouldn't be around. Tell me the brand, just off the top. I mean, I can name them, but I want to know, like, the brands you think that y'all single-handedly influence.
Wow, what y'all pop?
Yeah, what did y'all pop, G? What did y'all pop?
Lon Von.
Yeah. Celine.
Louis.
I
mean, the sneakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Celine.
There would not be a men's boutique if Ye didn't wear that shirt.
Celine, yeah. Otto.
I remember them shoes.
Yeah.
That was the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Montclair.
Yeah.
He did. With the red joint, he did. Okay. Yeah.
The red joint, calm T under. I remember.
I want to say calm, but not like calm is calm, but but you know what I'm saying.
I'm gonna say Balmain.
Oh, definitely Balmain.
Yeah, Balmain.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Like, because we was wearing baggy Balmains. This was before skinny Balmains.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the Taylor Swift thing, he has on Balmain biker jeans.
Yeah.
And I put the Keith Haring haircut in his head. You
That
know what I'm
shit's
saying?
crazy,
That's like one of the
Crazy.
like the most memorable moment in pop culture right there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Givenchy.
Definitely. I mean, you know.
I ain't want to say it, so Givenchy is one of it.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
I was just waiting on you to say it. I ain't assuming shit.
Like it's not even like, you know, Ricardo was in the crew.
Right.
No, I knew it. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Like Ricardo would be in the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the first time anybody ever seen the Rottweiler was on the Ham artwork.
Right.
Like that was before the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's the same.
yeah, Balmain, like the Balmain, Givenchy, like the Throne era, like
The Throne era was everything that Ye was a part of. That's what always was dope to me about y'all, which I always thought was ill. I see y'all, and all three of y'all had the same shit on, but a different piece of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, these niggas crazy, whatever the case is. But that's the point we made on the Lab with Don episode. Like that was the whole Barney's floor.
Yeah, like half the floor was.
You know what I'm saying? Just.
And then it was like the other side.
All right, so look. All right, let me ask you this. And I think this would be a good one to go out on. What's your take on the guys going with these brands after Ye had a falling out with these brands? And you know, trying to do for themselves, like trying to, man, you know, you got families and shit you got to take care of, or whatever.
Well, we just following what the first Donda chart was about.
Okay.
That's what it was about.
And that's what it's supposed to be.
So we stayed on the mission.
Right.
I don't know what else happened.
Okay.
That was
the
the original mission.
Dope.
We the new LVMH.
Right.
Damn.
Exactly.
Shit.
There we go.
I think we should stop it there, man.
Yeah.
Because it don't get no iller than that.
If y'all don't understand what he just said, then hey, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to part two. Ivan too, man. We're going to come to LA because you just opened up another whole motherfucking world.
I mean,
man.
that's what, hey man, we followed, that was the order and we followed that order. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to leave it like that.
Yes, sir.
Ghetto Runways. Peace.
We out.